The nanny's daughter tampered with my college application, changing Harvard University to a vocational school. She accused me of deliberately altering my application out of spite, and my parents were so angry they cut ties with me. She spread malicious rumors about me, and my boyfriend publicly called me disgusting in front of the entire school. She deliberately sowed discord, and one by one, my friends distanced themselves from me. My life was plunged into despair. Yet she went to college with the money my father funded. Before dying, she smiled and said she would replace me, taking all the love from my parents, boyfriend, and friends. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of filling out my college application. The housekeeper's daughter stood at the bedroom door, smiling and asking, "Lucy, have you finished filling out your application?" Sophia wore a little white Dior dress, adorned with Cartier necklaces and bracelets. Complemented by her fair, oval face and innocent gaze, she looked as pure and elegant as a jasmine flower. This refined demeanor was certainly not something her mother, who earned a mere $6,000 a month, could have cultivated. Her tone was affectionate, as if she were genuinely happy for me. I narrowed my eyes. 3 years ago when she came to my home, my parents and I have always treated her as one of our own. Whatever I ate, wore, or used, the family would prepare a set for her as well. My father used his connections to get her into the same prestigious high school as me, the top-tier tutor my mom hired for me. She attended the classes with me. In my circle of wealthy second-generation friends, I took her along to help her fit in. In front of everyone, I declared that Sophia was like a sister to me. Yet, even so, before her death in my past life, she said she was tired of always being in my shadow. The money I had, the love from my parents, my proud academic achievements, and even my handsome boyfriend, all drove her mad with jealousy. It took me dying once to realize that an ungrateful wretch will always be an ungrateful wretch. No amount of nurturing can change that. I forced a faint smile. Right, Harvard, have you submitted your application yet? With your scores, you should still be able to get into a second-tier university. Sophia pursed her lips and remained silent. After receiving the same education for 3 years, I scored 680 points while she got 480. No wonder she resents me. But just because you're slow-witted, does that mean others can't excel? At the time, I naively and sincerely suggested she could try repeating a year. She came in and took my hand. "Lucy, dinner's ready. My mom said she specially made lots of your favorite dishes today to celebrate your admission to Harvard." I withdrew my hand from hers and said calmly, "I know, I'll be down in a minute." She paused for a moment, then immediately smiled and said, "All right, hurry up then. I'll go call Uncle and Auntie." I stopped Sophia as she was leaving. I spoke as casually as if making small talk. "Please knock before entering my room from now on. Basic manners are still necessary, don't you think?" Sophia's face turned pale. In the past, I treated her like a sister and kept no secrets from her. She never needed to knock before entering my room. A flash of resentment crossed Sophia's eyes before she bit her lip and whispered, "I'm sorry, Lucy, I'll be more careful in the future." After she left, I turned my gaze to the computer screen. I had already filled out my college application preferences. Today was the final day to submit the application choices. Thinking back, in my previous life, Sophia must have sneaked into my room and secretly altered my preferences right after I finished filling them out. While I wasn't paying attention, I could go downstairs right now and kick out that mother and daughter pair, denying her this opportunity. But on one hand, it would be hard to explain to my parents, and on the other hand, Sophia has caused me so much suffering with her malicious heart. Simply driving her away would be letting her off too easily. I did some work on the computer before heading downstairs. Sophia was saying something that had my parents roaring with laughter. Dad said grandly, "Sophia, it's no big deal if the school isn't that great. Don't worry. After graduation, you can join your uncle's company with a monthly salary of $20,000. She said with admiration and gratitude. "Thank you, Uncle." Her mother also stood by, grinning from ear to ear. Sophia has a sweet tongue and knows how to please my parents better than I, their biological daughter, do. That's why in my past life, she found the opportunity to slander me to my parents, claiming I was throwing away my future just to spite them. I squeezed between her and my dad, wrapped my arms around his neck, and planted a kiss on his cheek. "Dad, what about me? Your daughter got into Harvard. Doesn't that make you proud? Just say it. Am I amazing or what?" Dad froze for a moment. After all, ever since I became sensible, I hadn't acted so affectionately or spoiled with him like this, in front of others. Sophia, who knew how to please him, seemed more like his biological daughter. After realizing it, he laughed heartily and said loudly, "Outstanding, outstanding. Of course my daughter is the most outstanding. Would you even worry about finding a job after graduation? I'm afraid even if I ask you to come back, you might not want to," I said. "Getting me to come back is simple. Just hand over the company to me to manage." Both my parents were amused by my remark, and Mom ruffled my hair. "Good daughter, your father couldn't be happier." I glanced at Sophia, who was watching our family of three. Though her eyes were practically red with hatred, she still pretended to share in our joy. After dinner, I said I was going out. In the past, whenever I went out to meet friends, I would always bring Sophia along, but today I deliberately didn't call her. Of course, even if I had asked her to come along, she would have made excuses not to. After all, she had something big to do. I sat on the cafe sofa, leisurely playing games. At that moment, my phone alerted me that my computer had been turned on. I opened the software, and the laptop camera clearly captured Sophia's twisted, malicious face. She stared intently at the computer screen, and 5 minutes later, a triumphant smile appeared on her face. The corners of my mouth curled up as I gave her a call. Sophia lowered her head and saw that the caller was me. Instantly panicking, she immediately turned off the computer and fled from my room as if escaping. "Sophia, what are you doing? Why did it take you so long to answer the phone?" "And nothing. I was just taking a nap." "Then, do you want to come out and hang out?" "I'm on my period and not feeling well." "Oh, okay, then go back to sleep." I stayed out until evening before returning home. The college application system had already closed, and Sophia looked refreshed and energetic. I asked her, "Sophia, you look really happy. Did something good happen?" Sophia covered her mouth and laughed. "No, it's just that I'm really looking forward to the school's prom tomorrow. By the way, Lucy, do you want to go pick out our dresses for the prom tomorrow morning?" As I walked upstairs, I said, "Oh, about the dresses. Wen and I already picked ours out today. You can go by yourself tomorrow morning. I'll have the driver take you." Sophia's mouth fell open. "Ah, Lucy, I waved my hand to interrupt her, pretending to be very sleepy, and went straight into the room. Sophia has been a freeloader for 3 years and has gotten used to it. To protect her self-esteem, I would thoughtfully take care of everything for her, never needing her to ask. She took it for granted that I would take her to pick out dresses, shoes, and jewelry, and ultimately foot the bill for her. Of course, in my past life, that's exactly what I did. At the ball, Sophia was like Cinderella in her finest attire, capturing everyone's attention. When I heard people praising her beauty and saying she was truly worthy of being my sister, I even felt particularly proud. It was during that time when she and my boyfriend, Lucas, secretly fooled around on the rooftop behind my back. Thinking of Lucas sends a chill down my spine. We only got together after he confessed to me post-college entrance exams, and I only told Sophia about it. Yet Sophia secretly hooked up with Lucas behind my back, which means, less than a month into our relationship, Lucas cheated on me with Sophia. The most hateful thing was, although they were clearly the scumbag and the slut, the two of them threw all the dirt at me, making me unable to hold my head up in front of the entire school. I made a call to my Sonda coach. "Harry, I need your help with something tomorrow." The dance was in the evening. The next day, I deliberately stayed in bed until noon before getting up. The next day, Lucas texted me, asking what time I was going to school today, and then casually asked if Sophia would be coming too. I sneered and told him we'd both be there. When Sophia saw me finally come downstairs, she sprang up from the couch and stared at me eagerly. "Lucy, let's go together. You have great taste. I need your help picking out my dress and makeup." I smiled. Asking for my opinion was just an excuse. What she really wanted was for me to foot the bill. I didn't refuse. After dinner, I had the driver take us both out. I was a regular at the luxury boutique, and the sales staff greeted me with deference. Sophia, dressed in the designer clothes I'd given her, was naturally treated like a wealthy heiress too. I put together an outfit for Sophia with a price tag of nearly 100,000 yuan. Her eyes lit up, and she said delightedly, "Lucy, you really have great taste." I told her to go try on the clothes quickly. The dress was complicated to put on. While Sophia was in the fitting room, I told the sales assistant that I had an urgent matter to attend to and had to leave, letting my sister take her time to choose. Of course, the sales assistant wouldn't suspect that Sophia couldn't afford the bill. She respectfully saw me out. I took my dress, and half an hour later, Sophia called. "Lucy, when are you coming back?" "Sophia, have you picked one yet?" "I can't make it now, maybe we should just meet at school. The driver is waiting at the door, don't worry." Hearing that I wasn't coming back, Sophia got anxious, but she hesitated for a long time but ultimately couldn't bring herself to say the words asking me to come back and pay. "Look at my memory. I forgot to settle the bill for you first." Hearing me get to the point, Sophia let out a long sigh of relief and then fell silent, waiting quietly for me to continue. "Sophia, you go ahead and swipe your card for now. I really can't make it over there right now." I didn't give her a chance and quickly hung up the phone. Sophia thought I didn't know, but all these years, the expensive gifts my parents gave her, she secretly resold them. Her little stash is even bigger than her mom's, spending my family's money without a care, but when it comes to her own, it hurts her to death. This is just the beginning. In the evening, Sophia arrived at the venue on time in my family's car. Just like in her previous life, she was dressed like a princess from a fairy tale, resembling the stunningly beautiful heroine who makes a grand entrance at the end of an idol drama, instantly capturing everyone's attention. She had gritted her teeth and bought that dress after all. Lucas couldn't take his eyes off her. "Lucy, Sophia really lives up to being your cousin. She looks so elegant when dressed up." "Exactly. You two sisters are the face of our high school. Too bad her grades are nowhere near Lucy's." "Who cares? The clothes, shoes, and bags Sophia wears are all designer brands. What does it matter if a rich girl like her has poor grades?" Sophia was so immersed in the praise from everyone that she nearly lost herself, flitting around the venue like a social butterfly all night, and every time she passed by someone and whispered a few words, people would glance at me with strange looks. I knew she had started subtly badmouthing me. Sophia was aware of all my social connections. With just a slight twist of her words, she could make things sound completely different to others. For instance, she would tell those who didn't make it into the broadcasting club that I only joined to spite her and steal her spot. Or, she would tell classmates aiming for a top-tier university that I gave up my guaranteed admission because I thought the school was too lousy, that only trash would go there. I quietly watched her performance. No matter, the higher you fly, the harder you fall. Once I expose Sophia's false facade, all the rumors will collapse on their own. By then, those she has deceived will unleash their fury upon her twice as fiercely. As the dance was nearing its end, a glass of juice spilled on my gown, and Sophia gasped in shock, tearfully apologizing to me. I said it was fine, since it was almost over anyway, and I could just change into my own clothes. Sophia offered to accompany me to change, but just like in my past life, I declined and told her to keep enjoying herself. I walked alone towards the changing room, holding up the hem of my dress, and when no one could see me anymore, I made a phone call. "Harry, come over now." The changing room was actually a small conference room, with a long oval meeting table placed against the wall, leaving enough space for someone to hide in the gaps. When Harry dragged out a shifty-eyed, scrawny man from under the conference table, the man was so scared he nearly wet his pants. "He's Sophia's cousin, a small-time hoodlum, who deliberately hid here to take nude photos of me. In my previous life, I was completely unaware and he took those photos. Sophia used them to utterly destroy my reputation." Sophia's cousin begged me tearfully not to call the police. I looked at him coldly and said, "Since you love taking sneaky photos so much, I'll give you a chance. If you refuse, I won't mind sending you straight to the police." 20 minutes later, I changed my clothes and returned to the venue. Neither Sophia nor Lucas was there. A few more minutes passed, and the host announced that the final prize draw was about to begin. Sophia returned, her cheeks flushed. I pretended not to notice. "Sophia, where did you go?" The venue was too stuffy. "I went out for some fresh air." I nodded and muttered to myself, "Lucas isn't here either. He's going to miss the prize draw." Sophia stood beside me, her eyes brimming with pride and arrogance. Maybe they went to the bathroom. The lottery method involved cycling through everyone's photos on the big screen, from third prize to first prize, and finally the grand prize. In my previous life, when it came time for the grand prize, what appeared on the big screen wasn't the photo of some lucky winner. It was mine, because the dress was off the shoulder. Taking it off left me nearly naked. Cousin Sophia deliberately exposed his hand from certain angles to make it look like I was fooling around with a man in the changing room. After the first prize was drawn, Lucas arrived late. Sophia glanced at him shyly before excitedly fixing her gaze on the big screen, her eyes brimming with madness. Her clasped hands trembling slightly with excitement. In my past life, I thought she was nervous because she cared too much about the grand prize. The host hyped up the atmosphere as everyone in the venue watched the screen, counting down in unison, 3, 2, 1, stop. Instead of cheers, there was complete silence. Lucas stood to my left, and Sophia stood to my right. The two of them panicked simultaneously. A girl in a pink puffy dress knelt between the boy's legs. The boy leaned against the wall, his handsome face showing an expression of extreme pleasure. Everyone present was old enough to understand what the two people in the photo were actually doing. The dim lighting didn't stop everyone from immediately recognizing that the main characters were none other than Sophia and Lucas. I furrowed my brows. I knew the two were fooling around, but actually seeing it in person, Sophia still managed to disgust me. She really would stop at nothing. Sophia and Lucas were stunned, standing frozen in place, at a complete loss. A few seconds later, the teacher and the host hurriedly turned off the large screen. Only then did the crowd snap out of it, as if a massive boulder had been thrown into a lake. The scene erupted in an instant. Holy shit, Sophia and the school hunk, that's fucking explosive. Who would have thought? Sophia always seemed like such a goddess, but she's so wild in private. Well, Lucas is the school hunk after all. Though I thought he was into Lucy, school hunk or not, a girl with no self-respect, no matter how rich, just earns people's scorn. The surrounding chatter grew louder, and the crowd, thrilled by the juicy gossip, didn't hesitate to discuss it openly, even though the two involved parties were right there. A few girls who couldn't stand Sophia deliberately raised their voices to mock her, calling her names like slut, trash, and even worse than a prostitute. Sophia listened as the insults became increasingly vile, her expression crumbling under the weight of shame, anger, and confusion. It was quite a spectacle, of course. She never expected this. According to her plan, it should have been me on the big screen, me being ridiculed and scorned by everyone, me drowning in humiliation. How did it end up being her instead? She couldn't even try to argue that it wasn't her. After all, no one was blind. Sophia covered her face and tried to run, but I grabbed her firmly. What a joke. How could I possibly let her go? Stay here and keep humiliating yourself. With my left hand gripping Sophia tightly, I delivered a resounding slap to Lucas with my right. Lucas, how dare you treat my sister like this? What do you take me for? I put all my strength into that slap. Though I'm a girl, my years of martial arts training weren't for nothing. Lucas staggered and nearly fell from the force of it. To others, it seemed like I hit him to seek justice for my beloved sister, but Lucas knew full well that his affair with Sophia was, to me, nothing short of betrayal. Sure enough, Lucas was guilty. Even after being hit, he didn't dare get angry but instead hurriedly begged for my forgiveness. Sophia seduced me first. It's true, she was the one who asked me to meet on the rooftop first. She's your sister. I thought she had something important to tell me. That's why I went, seeing my indifference. Lucas grew even more frantic and began to speak recklessly. Lucy, you really can't blame me. Sophia is just a cheap slut. How could I possibly like her? Sophia, whom I was holding onto, trembled all over and stared at Lucas in disbelief, her eyes wide with shock. She thought she had stolen Lucas from me with her charm, unaware that he only saw her as a plaything. I struggled to hold back my laughter, but on the surface, I grew even angrier, pointing at his nose and scolding. You're talking nonsense. I won't allow you to slander my sister like this. How dare you call her a slut? Do you have any proof? Provoked by my words, Lucas immediately pulled out his phone and started tapping loudly while saying, "This is the WeChat message she just sent asking me to meet on the rooftop, and these are the photos Sophia sent me a few days ago while she was showering. She claimed it was an accident. How ridiculous. She was just using that lame excuse to flirt with me." Those nearby saw the dozens of bathroom photos in Lucas's phone, causing an immediate uproar. The looks directed at Sophia grew even more contemptuous. Sophia was now utterly humiliated and wished she could disappear. She still wanted to run, but I tightly gripped her wrist. I spat out a "Pa, the photo must be AI face swapped. This body definitely isn't Sophia's. I can call Sophia's mom right now and have her verify it." Hearing that I was about to summon her own mother, Sophia jolted in fright. No one knew her mom was actually my family's nanny. her eyes were bloodshot, and at this moment she probably hated me to death. Yet she had no choice but to plead with me in a tearful voice, "Lucy, I don't want to stay here anymore. Can we leave, please?" I looked at her with heartache, then turned to Lucas and said coldly, "Lucas, Sophia is still a minor. How could you do such a thing? Unless you tell me you two are officially dating now." Sophia's birthday is in 2 weeks, meaning she hasn't turned 18 yet. Lucas quickly denied it. Who said we're boyfriend and girlfriend? She was the one who came on to me first. Believe me, I just frowned, showing that I didn't believe a word he said. Sophia didn't dare to argue at all and just tried to pull me away. Since the goal has already been achieved, I let her pull me along as we left the venue. On the way back, Sophia tearfully apologized to me. I generously replied, "Sophia, I don't blame you." Sophia looked up and asked uncertainly, "Lucy, you really don't blame me?" "Of course, you're my sister, and I trust your character. Tell me, did Lucas force you?" Sophia's mouth hung half open in utter astonishment. After all, given what she did with my boyfriend, plus the evidence in Lucas's phone, any normal person would consider beating her up as going easy on her. Sophia hesitated for a few seconds, as if making up her mind, then nodded, "Yes, I accidentally sent him some photos I took for fun, and he used them to threaten me, saying he'd expose those pictures if I didn't do as he said." "Lucy, I'm so scared. I didn't mean to come between you two." Sophia seemed to really get into her role as she spoke, breaking down in tears. "Don't worry. I'll tell my dad about this and have him help you get justice." "No," Sophia suddenly screamed. Realizing she had overreacted, she awkwardly explained, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, and I especially don't want my uncle to offend Lucas's parents because of me." "Lucy, please, can we just let this go? I'm begging you." She was genuinely terrified. Lucas's family holds considerable influence locally, and Sophia went to great lengths to snatch him away. Not just to spite me but also because she valued this very fact, but this also means that if she offends Lucas, the Lincoln family will never let her off the hook. Faced with Sophia's desperate pleas, I agreed. When we reached the doorstep, I remembered I had left my phone in the car and asked her to go in first. Back in the car, I dialed 911 without hesitation. "Officer, I'd like to anonymously report a case of using nude photos to threaten and molest an underage girl." "Yes. I have photos of the victim and recorded evidence of her verbal admission. I'll have someone deliver them to the police station shortly, which can prove she was coerced." After reporting to the police, I asked the driver to come home with me. As soon as we reached the door, we heard a man's furious roars and the sound of things being thrown inside. My parents went on a business trip this morning, so theoretically, only Sophia and her mom should be at home now. The driver stopped me warily. I signaled that it was fine, pushed the door open, and walked in. "I'm putting it out there today. If you don't give me the money, I'm staying right here and not leaving." A scruffy, unkempt middle-aged man with a disheveled beard sprawled shamelessly on my living room sofa. "My mom and I don't have any money. It's useless for you to stay here. Sophia, you think you're all grown up now, huh? Living in a villa and riding luxury cars with your mom every day, while your old man suffers outside. Do you even care?" "So what? I cut ties with you long ago." "You can talk about cutting ties all you want, but even if you fly to the ends of the earth, you'll always be my son, Bob." This man was none other than Sophia's biological father, a drunkard and a gambler. Sophia loathed him to the core. I cleared my throat lightly, startling the three who were in the midst of their argument. Sophia's mom was the most nervous. "Lucy," I wasn't angry and greeted her cheerfully. "You must be Uncle Bob." "Right," although Bob looked utterly despicable. He didn't dare to act too recklessly in front of me, his master, especially since I had brought people with me. He straightened up in his seat. "That's right, I'm here for my wife and daughter. I'll leave as soon as I get the money." Sophia was already exhausted from the incident at the ball, and now that I had witnessed her in such a humiliating state, she grew even more furious. "What daughter? Who's your daughter? Get out or not. If you don't leave now, we'll call the police for trespassing." Bob wasn't fazed by Sophia's threats, but when I showed up, he became visibly guarded. I smiled. "Sophia, I think Uncle Bob must be in real trouble, otherwise he wouldn't have come here looking for you. If you can help him, you should. After all, blood is thicker than water. Family ties can't be severed." Neither Sophia nor her mother expected me to say this. Her mother anxiously explained to me, "Lucy, you don't understand. This scoundrel is a bottomless pit. he's already taken all our money. Bob saw that I was actually siding with him, relaxed, and started showering me with compliments. TSK, 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 look at this. This is the grace of a true young lady from a wealthy family. Sophia, even though you live and eat with her every day, you can't compare to her in the slightest. Ha, that's well said. I love hearing that. Sophia was deeply stung by the remark. What she cared about most was the gap between us. So in her previous life she went to great lengths to obtain everything I had. At this moment, she was so furious she could grind her teeth to dust, yet she didn't dare vent her anger at me, only directing it at her father. She tried to pull Bob up from the sofa. Get out, we'll never give you any money. I chimed in at the right moment. Sophia, be careful, you just spent 60,000 on that dress, don't ruin it. What, 60,000? The man who had been grappling with Sophia froze. He stared at her dress in disbelief, his expression shifting from confusion to fury. The next second, his face twisted with rage as he swung his arm and slapped Sophia hard. Twice, you wretched girl, I've been hiding like a dog outside for just 10,000 yuan, and you dare to buy a 60,000 yuan dress, and you lied to me, saying you had no money. Sophia was completely caught off guard and was slapped to the ground. Along with her, a bloodied tooth fell to the floor. Ah, you damned bastard, I'll fight you to the death. Sophia's mother cried and rushed to beat Bob, but was shoved away by him and fell to the ground. The driver shielded me, afraid that Bob might lash out at me in a fit of rage. Bob, still seething with anger, kicked Sophia in the stomach. She let out a cry of pain and immediately curled up like a shrimp. Don't think I don't know. It was you who stopped your mother from giving me money and even said it'd be best if I died. I should have drowned you the moment you were born. I glanced at Sophia, who was still dazed and struggling to get up from the floor, feeling a surge of satisfaction inside, but I put on a worried expression. Uncle Bob, how could you hit someone? At that moment, the security guard from the residential compound knocked on the door, asking what had happened inside. I gave the driver a meaningful look, and he immediately went to open the door. Bob, seeing the crowd growing, didn't dare to act recklessly anymore, no matter how dissatisfied he was. He could only curse and grumble as the security guards escorted him out on both sides. The security in the villa area was actually very tight. In her previous life, her father had tried many times but never found an opportunity to get in. The reason he was able to appear at my house today was because I had someone give him a temporary access card. Yes, I deliberately let him in. In my previous life, after returning home in disgrace from the dance, Sophia took advantage of my parents' absence to secretly report to them behind my back, claiming I had been caught in a compromising situation with someone and that the whole school had seen it, bringing shame to the entire family. Although my parents doted on me, our family had strict rules and could not tolerate such behavior. They flew back early the next morning to reprimand me. Despite my desperate attempts to explain, with Sophia's slander already poisoning their minds and the inexplicable presence of a man in the photos, my parents were utterly disappointed in me. Having grown up without a complete family herself, Sophia couldn't stand the love my parents showered upon me. This time, not only did I make her the one to lose face, but I also made sure she was humiliated and beaten by her most despised biological father right in front of me. After Bob left, I looked down at Sophia on the ground, with no intention of helping her up. Auntie, Sophia, what's going on? How could you let such a dangerous person into my house? I deliberately emphasized the words, my house. Sophia's mother blushed, unsure how to explain. I continued, you've been with our family for quite some time. I believe neither my parents nor I have treated you poorly, so please handle your family matters properly. I don't want to see something like this happen again. Sophia clutched her stomach, clearly in excruciating pain, yet her eyes burned with malice. Her entire face was contorted with intense hatred. Where was even a trace of the stunning beauty that had captivated everyone at the ball earlier? Sophia's mother cherished her life with her daughter in my home and kept apologizing to me, promising it would never happen again. Then she asked me fearfully, Lucy, it seems Sophia is seriously injured. I'm so scared. Should we go to the hospital? I walked straight upstairs, leaving the mother and daughter with my back turned. Go if you want to. The driver might not have gone far yet. Let him take you. I won't be like before, foolishly caring for and looking after Sophia at the slightest sign of her discomfort. Perhaps from this moment on, Sophia will start to suspect that something's off about me. But who cares? Tonight was nothing short of a nightmare for her. But tomorrow holds an even greater nightmare in store. I slept soundly and woke up to find my phone flooded with countless missed calls and dozens of messages from Sophia's mom. Lucy, Vivian and I are at the police station right now. They've taken her in for questioning alone for hours. I'm so worried. Did something happen at the school dance? She won't tell me anything, and I'm going out of my mind with worry. Lucy, please come and help her, or ask your parents to step in, okay? Sophia is still young. She's about to start college. She can't afford to have anything happen to her. To be honest, Sophia's mom genuinely cares for Sophia, but she's so indulgent that in my past life, even though she knew her daughter had altered my college application, she still chose to cover it up against her conscience. So, I really can't bring myself to pity her. I replied to her mom, Auntie, I just woke up, I'll be right there. We should hurry over, or we'll miss the big show. I picked out a pretty dress and did my makeup in the car, making sure I'd look my best when I appeared before Sophia. At the entrance, I spotted the Lincoln family's luxury car. As soon as I entered, I saw Lucas's mother aggressively interrogating Sophia's mom, who knew nothing and could only cry in response. What are you crying about? What status does my son have to be interested in the daughter of a maid? It must be your shameless daughter who seduced my son first. I cleared my throat lightly. Lucas's mother saw me, and her expression softened slightly. Lucy, you're always with Sophia, you must know something, right? Given my friendship with your parents, I hope you'll tell me the truth. I smiled. Auntie, don't worry. Although I treat Sophia like a sister, I stand by what's right, not just by family ties. I'll tell you everything I know. Apparently Lucas was taken away so suddenly that he didn't even have time to tell his mother what had happened. So I recounted the entire sequence of events from last night's dance in detail, including how Lucas had shown everyone the bathroom photos Sophia sent him and the WeChat message inviting him to the rooftop. Lucas's mother could easily verify these facts by asking anyone who was present at the scene. After hearing this, Lucas's mother became even more convinced of her son's innocence. It's indeed that wretched girl seducing my son. I heard it was Sophia who personally slandered my son by claiming he threatened her, which led to him being taken away by the police. Is that true? I shrugged. That I'm not sure about. I stopped at just the right point. I didn't want the Lincoln family to find out I was deliberately stirring up trouble. At that moment, Sophia finally appeared. She was still wearing that 60,000 yuan gown, but after just one night, her carefully styled updo and makeup had completely fallen apart. With her haggard face and ashen complexion, she looked like a ghost. Right behind her came Lucas. The female officer beside her said sternly, "We've already clarified the matter." Sophia admits that all her actions with Lucas were voluntary, with no coercion whatsoever. Of course, summoning Lucas for questioning is part of our standard procedure. We ask for the parents' understanding. Now that the facts are clear, you may leave after signing the documents. Sophia's mother heaved a sigh of relief, while Lucas's mother fixed a piercing stare at Sophia. Lucas's mother didn't lose her temper on the spot and cooperated with the police by signing the documents. With a playful glint in my eyes, I hid behind the crowd, watching Sophia. No matter how she tried to explain and defend Lucas, taking all the blame upon herself, she had now completely offended the Lincoln family. I knew she must be terrified right now. Sure enough, as soon as we left the police station, Sophia pretended not to notice Lucas's mother's death glare and grabbed my arm. "Lucy, I'm feeling a bit dizzy. Can you take me home quickly?" "Home?" Sophia nodded eagerly. I pushed away her hand that was pulling on my arm. "Sophia, you're a grown-up now. You should speak more carefully." "Okay, that's my home, not yours." Sophia's pupils dilated, unable to believe what I had said. Lucas's mother suddenly spoke up. "No matter what, you're still a boy, and you share some responsibility in this matter. I think we should invite Miss Bob to our home as a guest, to make amends to her." Lucas's mother said those words, but the venom in her eyes was almost overflowing. Both Sophia and I knew what that meant. Sophia shook her head and screamed, "No, I don't want to go. I won't go." But reality left her no choice. The Lincoln family's bodyguards dragged her toward the car, while Lucas's mother blocked Sophia's mom. Since the two kids have done such a thing, they must be in a relationship. Going to the boyfriend's house to play is nothing to worry about. Then, the Lincoln family took Sophia and drove off. I happily watched them leave. Lucas's mother is a tough woman. It said she once caught several of Mr. Lincoln's mistresses, and those women ended up in terrible situations. Sophia is going to have a tough time. As I was about to get into the car, Sophia's mother, looking extremely anxious, tried to follow me inside, but the driver stopped her. Auntie, you've worked hard for our family these past few years. I've already transferred this month's salary to your account, including an additional bonus from me as a token of gratitude. Your and Sophia's belongings from our house have been packed and sent to your home in the southern part of the city. Before Sophia's mother could react, I had already closed the car door. The place I mentioned in the southern part of the city is where Sophia's father currently lives. Back then, I felt sorry for Sophia having to live with such an unreliable biological father, so I suggested to my parents that we take her in to live with us. Little did I know that what I thought was a kind gesture was, in her eyes, just a way to make her my foil, if that's how she sees it. Then she can just go back to where she belongs. When my parents came back, they found that neither Sophia nor her mother was there and asked me in surprise what had happened. I told my parents everything, how Sophia had arranged for her cousin to secretly take photos of me at the dance, and how Sophia's father had suddenly barged into our house in the middle of the night. The thought that I had almost been photographed naked made my mother shudder with fear. Oh my God. If it weren't for our Lucy's alertness, what would we do now? My father asked me with concern. That bastard Bob came to our house. Did he do anything to you? Child, how could you not call me about such a big matter? I smiled. Don't worry, the coach and driver helped me. I'm completely fine. Only then did my father let out a long sigh of relief, but his expression quickly turned grave, filled with disappointment and heartache. We've treated Sophia well. How could she do this to you? My mother was also furious, saying it wasn't enough to just kick her out. We must hold Sophia accountable. I stopped them. There's no need for us to lift a finger. A week later, it was said that Sophia suddenly appeared at the school gate in the middle of the night, covered in wounds of various sizes, some from whipping, some from burns, and others from sharp objects. Moreover, she was lying there dead drunk. If not for the timely discovery by the school security guard, she would have been picked up by passing vagrants. Then rumors spread that Sophia had been showing up at bars every night, getting drunk and getting cozy with different men. Some classmates even had photos of it on their phones. Sophia had just graduated, but her reputation was already completely ruined. It was said that after she and her mother returned to her biological father, beatings and verbal abuse became routine, making every day a living hell. Whenever she entertained the thought of leaving, she would be met with another brutal beating from Bob. Her 18th birthday passed hastily under such circumstances. Having lived as a pampered and respected young lady for 3 years, how could she endure the filth and chaos of the urban slum and the abuse from her biological father? Sophia stopped our car outside the gated community. I was about to attend a charity dinner with my mom at the time. My mom was furious when she saw Sophia, but I held her back to calm her down. Mom, what's done is done. There's nothing left to say to her. Let me handle this. My mother glanced at Sophia's sullen face outside the car, her expression filled with concern. You've treated her like a younger sister these past 3 years. How have you wronged her? She still has the nerve to come looking for us. Be careful, she might be up to no good again. I pointed to the security guard at the entrance to reassure my mom. Truthfully, I knew Sophia wouldn't do anything to me, at least not now, because she must be dying to see the look of shock and madness on my face when I received the admission letter. I jumped out of the car and walked leisurely up to her. Sophia's eyes were filled with venom. In just 2 weeks, she had become completely unrecognizable from her former self. Lucy, it was you, wasn't it, that day in the car? You deliberately provoked me into saying those things, then reported me to the police and framed me for it. Did I seduce you? Did that really happen? I covered my mouth and deliberately retorted in an exaggerated tone. So you're saying it wasn't Lucas threatening you, but you actually seduced him? Sophia was left speechless, her face twitching uncontrollably. I sneered. Do you still need something from me? I believe I've already returned all your belongings and your mother's salary. Why? Sophia suddenly began to scream hysterically. Lucy, why, didn't you say you'd treat me like a real sister? A real sister? How dare she, Sophia, have the audacity to question me? I smirked disdainfully. Sorry, I just suddenly realized you're not worthy. Lucy, you're so lucky. But isn't it just because you were born into the right family, apart from your background? In what way am I inferior to you? I cut her off. Not only was I born into a better family than you, I'm also prettier. At least I don't stoop so low as to seduce men. I'm smarter too. My college entrance exam scores were a full 200 points higher than yours. Sophia was absolutely furious, yet everything I said was the truth, leaving her with no way to refute. She gritted her teeth and said, feeling proud of doing well on the exam, "Just wait, you'll be crying in a few days." I frowned and asked her what she really meant by that, seeing my puzzled expression. Sophia seemed to finally feel she had gained the upper hand and became smug. "Do you think you're definitely getting into Harvard? Nothing in this world is ever 100% certain." A soft car horn sounded behind me. My mom was urging me to hurry. As I turned to get in the car, Sophia quickly said, "Lucy, do you dare to make a bet with me?" "Bet on what?" "I bet you won't get into Harvard." I raised an eyebrow. "What's the wager?" Her jealousy could no longer be concealed as she spat viciously. "If you don't get in, you owe me 5 million and have to strip naked and run around campus, shouting that you're the cheapest, the most shameless slut." "Ha, 5 million. She really has the nerve. What if I get accepted?" "If you get accepted, I'll do whatever you say." I pouted and shook my head. "Selling all your organs wouldn't even get you 5 million. But," I added, "I don't care about your money. If you lose, you just have to post something on your social media." Sophia didn't expect my request to be so simple. "What social media post?" "Just say that all the bad things you've ever told anyone about me were fabricated by you, Sophia, and you need to publicly apologize to me on social media." Sophia was startled. You know about it. Nothing is secret that is not known. Would you dare?" Sophia was naturally confident that I wouldn't get into Harvard. Thinking she was about to score a huge bargain, and she couldn't contain her excitement anymore. "Deal, no takebacks." 3 days later, I arranged to meet Sophia at school. All students who had applied to Harvard or Yale University were gathered in the school auditorium to check their admission results together. When Sophia arrived, many people whispered among themselves, and of course, the content of their discussions was far from kind. But Sophia no longer cared. She walked into the auditorium with composure and took a seat in the farthest corner. To avoid affecting others' inquiries, I asked the teacher to put me last. Half an hour later, the 20 people ahead of me finished their inquiries. Without exception, all confirmed their admission to Harvard or Yale University. When it was my turn, I glanced sideways at Sophia. She stood there with her arms crossed, perfectly at ease. And when our eyes met, she gave me a thumbs-down gesture. I calmly logged into my account to check my college application information. "Congratulations, Lucy, and thank you for bringing honor to our school," the teacher beside me immediately exclaimed upon seeing the results. At that moment, all the students in the auditorium erupted into cheers. I was surrounded by the crowd and looked at Sophia again. Her face was filled with shock. Sophia suddenly stood up, knocking over the chair behind her, startling everyone. She stumbled over, pushing through the crowd recklessly, her eyes bloodshot as she leaned over the computer. The word "admitted" hit her hard. "Impossible. This can't be." A girl who was close to me stepped away from Sophia in disgust. "Sophia, are you okay?" Lucy scored 680 in total. Isn't getting into Harvard a sure thing for her? Sophia turned a deaf ear, only repeating that it was impossible. Is there something wrong with her brain? Don't you remember? She used to fool around with men every day. Covered in bruises, who knows if she was playing some twisted games that messed up her mind. "Lucy, seriously, you should stay away from your cousin." I cleared my throat. "There's something I need to clarify with everyone now. That is, Sophia is not actually my cousin." Sophia suddenly looked up, as if anticipating what I was about to say, the unease in her eyes rapidly intensifying. I smiled faintly. "Her mother worked at my house for 3 years, diligently and very conscientiously. Our whole family is very grateful to her." The classmates were all taken aback, and someone whispered, "So, Sophia is your housekeeper's daughter? TCH, then why does she put on airs all the time?" "Exactly, it's not like we're saying there's anything wrong with being a housekeeper's daughter. A dog doesn't despise its home for being poor, and a child doesn't scorn its mother for being ugly." How disgustingly vain. Sophia staggered, barely managing to steady herself by gripping the edge of the table. The carefully crafted persona she had maintained for 3 years had completely collapsed. I walked leisurely up to her. "Sophia, a bet is a bet. You know what you should do, otherwise don't even think about leaving here." Sophia couldn't figure out where things had gone wrong. Why, despite having tampered with my results, I was still admitted to Harvard University. At this moment, she stared at me with wide, unblinking eyes. her chest heaving violently, not even trying to conceal the malice in her gaze. After a long while, she reluctantly took out her phone and, under my supervision, posted a moment on her social media. I nodded in satisfaction, signaling that she could leave now. Sophia left unwillingly amidst the crowd's disdain and curses. Half an hour later, I received a phone call. Lucy, Sophia is at the school gate, hiding a bottle of sulfuric acid in her sleeve. She's gone mad. Sophia has truly lost her mind. The successive blows have left her utterly devastated. The only reason she's held on until now is her desire to witness my despair upon failing the college entrance exam. It's a pity that I let her down. A woman consumed entirely by jealousy is truly terrifying. I anticipated her crazy actions and had someone keep an eye on her long ago. Given another chance, I won't give her any opportunity to hurt me again. I was chatting and laughing with my classmates as we walked toward the gate when one of them, sharp-eyed, spotted Sophia peeking in from outside. Sophia, why are you still here? Sophia said expressionlessly. I need to talk to Lucy. I stood still, separated from her by the fence, maintaining a distance of 10 meters. Go ahead, I'm listening. Lucy, are you still blaming me because of Lucas? But I've already suffered a very terrible and severe punishment. Yet, I truly can't bear to lose our 3 years of sisterhood. I don't expect your forgiveness, whether you accept it or not. I sincerely want to apologize to you, Lucy. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been delusional and tried to flirt with Lucas. You are a celestial fairy, a noble lady. How could I ever compare to you? I was wrong. Sophia was already crying uncontrollably. Lucy, right now, I just want to hold you, as a way to put a full stop to our past. Okay, if you don't want to, then just holding hands is fine. I watched her performance with great interest and finally couldn't help but applaud for her. Sophia, with acting skills like yours, you should be applying to film school. What a waste of talent to settle for some second-rate university. Sophia lowered herself like this, yet I still didn't take the bait. Frustrated and embarrassed, she abruptly stopped crying. Lucy, don't push your luck. 2 police officers suddenly appeared behind Sophia. You are Sophia, correct? You are suspected of altering someone's college entrance exam application and illegally obtaining personal information of a citizen. Please come with us. Sophia was about to curse me out, but she was abruptly cut off, and by such shocking, earth-shattering news at that. The look on her face was truly priceless. She stammered in defense. I didn't, whether you have or not. You'll find out when you come with us for questioning. Damn it, the classmate beside me couldn't help but exclaim. Then quickly covered their mouth upon realizing we were in front of the police. Officer, it was her. She secretly changed my college application while I was away, almost making me miss my chance to get into Harvard University. Sophia turned to look at me in a daze, meeting my knowing gaze, her eyes widening in surprise. That's right, I was the one who called the police. I didn't forget to remind the officers, there's something bulky in her sleeve. Could it be a weapon? Be careful. A bottle of sulfuric acid was immediately found by the police in Sophia's sleeve. The 2 officers exchanged a glance and, with serious expressions, took Sophia away. Of course, as the plaintiff, I had to obediently follow along. A classmate who witnessed the entire process immediately shared the incident in various group chats after we left, spreading the news far and wide. Within less than 5 minutes, the story of Sophia tampering with my Harvard University application and being taken away by the police at the school gate after I personally reported it had spread throughout the entire school. I have video evidence of Sophia committing the act from start to finish, as well as screen recordings of her operating on my computer. The case was clear-cut with ample evidence. Sophia broke the law. Only then did my parents learn about this incident. They were furious and strongly demanded the judge severely punish Sophia. However, since I detected it in time and corrected my college application, no serious consequences occurred. Sophia wouldn't have faced a heavy sentence originally, but the Lincoln family got wind of this news and pulled some strings. In the end, Sophia was sentenced to 2 years in prison along with a substantial fine. Paying the fine infuriated Bob, who vowed to break Sophia's legs once she got out. I went to visit her in prison, but Sophia refused to see me. Perhaps she didn't want me to witness her rock-bottom misery. Lucas had been keeping a low profile for a while since the prom incident. After Sophia was sentenced, he shamelessly reached out to me again. Lucy, I was confused before, momentarily blinded by greed. I know I was wrong, now that we've both been accepted into universities in Beijing. I'll take care of you for the next 4 years. I rolled my eyes and blocked him without hesitation. Sorry, but in my life plan, there's no place for Sophia, nor for scumbags like you. The only good thing Sophia did was probably helping me see through Lucas, just a scumbag with a pretty face, allowing me to cut my losses in time. Given a second chance, I'll firmly grasp the beautiful life I was meant to have. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My boyfriend moved on seamlessly to a wealthy heiress. The couple flaunted their love in front of me, humiliating me for being poor. I stared at the heiress's Chanel suit and Prada bag, lost in thought. How strikingly similar they looked to the ones I just rented out last week. We're not meant to be together. Let's part on good terms. The second after Shinchin sent me the breakup text, he made it official on social media. His new partner is the company's recently arrived wealthy heiress, Luo Kaiwei, the niece of General Manager Luo Sen. The two of them held hands tightly, smiling sweetly at the camera. Shinchin tagged her in a declaration, "All my luck in this life was spent on meeting you." Beneath the post, many colleagues from the same department were fawning over him, congratulating him on winning the goddess. Amidst all the flattery, not a single person questioned his infidelity. The sycophantic flattery is nauseating. Even after more than half a year in the workplace, I still can't get used to this culture of currying favor with superiors and bullying subordinates. Frowning, I watched for a while before finally sending a message back to Shinchin. Reason, Shinchin didn't reply, but his new flame transferred me 200 yuan instead. Shinchin has told me everything about you too. Take the money and stop bothering him from now on. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror to see if you're even worthy, with that pathetic look of poverty all over your face? A toad like you keeps dreaming of eating swan meat every day. A loser is just a loser. Time to wake up from your rich family fantasy. Rich family fantasy. I am the rich family myself. Why would I need to dream about it, as the wealthy daughter of a capitalist? I never imagined that one day I'd be humiliated for being poor. After refusing the arranged blind date my family set up, my father cut off my financial support and threw me into the least profitable subsidiary company for an internship. To defend my freedom in love, I stood my ground with pride. Every day, I wore cheap street market clothes worth just a few dozen yuan, squeezing onto the subway as I shuttled between my rented apartment and the company. Life was frugal, but I found contentment in it. Don't assume that children from wealthy families can't endure hardship. We may have suffered more than our peers growing up. The education I received since childhood doesn't allow me to engage in a vicious back and forth with her like a rabid dog. I took a screenshot of her transfer in harsh words and sent it to Shinchin, asking, "Is this what you think too?" It took him quite a while to reply, "Take it. 200 yuan should be quite a lot for you. It would be too much to not know when to stop." Shinchin joined the company a few days earlier than I did, and his persona was that of a rich second-generation heir who ran away from home to resist an arranged marriage. This persona was almost too similar to mine. On top of that, he was tall, handsome, and knew how to charm girls. After he pursued me for 2 months, I agreed to be with him. After getting together, he used the excuse of not being able to break his old habit of extravagance, living beyond his means, and spent quite a bit of my money. I didn't have a strong concept of money, so I didn't argue with him about it. Over these past 3 months, he's had no shortage of eating and drinking on my dime, and in the end, he insults me with 200 bucks. Is this breakup money? What you've spent of mine over this time isn't just this little, is it? Shinchin replied instantly this time. Tian Mai, are you trying to settle accounts? Are you that desperate for money? Don't you have any idea how much you've spent of mine? I actually do have the numbers. In total, he bought me a fake bag worth 300 to 500 and a lipstick around 200 yuan. As for what he asked from me, I roughly calculated, if not 50,000, at least 30,000. Thank goodness my dad froze my card. Who knows how much more I would have lost otherwise. It's not that I can't afford it, but money should be spent in a way that makes you happy. I made a list and sent it to him. These are the things I bought for you. You can choose to get the cash equivalent or return them. The bag and lipstick you bought me add up to less than 1,000. Let's just round it up to 1,000. If you want the cash, I'll deduct it. If you prefer to return the items, I'll transfer the money to you after I get them back. As for the food, drinks, and entertainment, consider it my treat. After sending the message, there was no reply for a long time. After a long time, I sent him another question mark, only to find out I had been blocked. I was so angry I laughed. How pathetic. How could I have been so blind to fall for him? Luckily, it was just temporary blindness. Luo Kaiwei even mocked me in the company group chat, saying my clothes were just cheap street vendor finds worth a few dozen bucks, unlike her, who's decked out in international luxury brands. After saying that, she even posted a retouched photo. She was wearing the latest Chanel suit, carrying a Prada bag, and her meticulously made up and beautified eyebrows and eyes looked exceptionally refined. I ignored the sarcastic remarks meant to flatter her. I clicked on the image, zoomed in, and scrutinized it for a long time. The filters were so heavy that I couldn't tell if this was the same person I had rented my clothes and bag to just last week. I simply forwarded the picture directly to Meng Wan. Wan. Can you check if this is the person who rented my clothes and bag? Meng Wan is a few years younger than me, the cousin of a second-generation official in our circle. Though her family background isn't as strong as ours, she's sweet-talking, resourceful, and full of clever ideas, so we always include her when we hang out. A few years ago, dissatisfied with her family's arrangements, she struck out on her own and started a luxury rental business, with her extensive connections and ample supply. She's made quite a success of it. In families like ours, luxury goods can sit idle, but they must be owned. Every year when a few high-end luxury stores release new collections, the store managers personally visit to let me and my mom pick what we like. Although my dad was angry with me, after all, I'm his only precious child, so he would never let me lack any necessary gear. A week ago, to prepare a birthday gift for Shinqin, I handed over most of my luxury items to Meng Wan in one go, asking her to rent them out for some cash. At the time, she even advised me, saying no one rents out brand new items. I said it was fine. If renting didn't work out, we could just sell them secondhand after a few tries. Looking back now, I really was a sucker. Soon, Meng Wan's reply confirmed my suspicions. Yeah, it's her, sis. Let me tell you, this person is so annoying. She haggles forever every time she comes to rent clothes, but she's also one of my biggest clients. So I can't really say much. Sis, how do you know her? I curled the corner of my lips. Sure enough, the haughty and overbearing Luo Tsaiwei's identity as a rich girl was questionable. A sudden inspiration struck me, and I began to doubt Shinqin's character setting as well. He's a colleague from our company. Can you help me look into Shinqin too? See if you can find anything. Meng Wan had a wider social circle than I did and knew quite a few real and fake socialites. She replied almost instantly, no need to check. This is also one of my major clients. They've been renting high-end luxury items from me for years. They really are a perfect match. Luo Kaiwei was still basking in the flattery of those sycophantic bootlickers. Of course, while praising her, they didn't forget to drag me down. They said I was clinging to Shinqin, sticking to him like glue just for his money. I could only laugh. For his money, even if he were a down-and-out rich second generation, he probably wouldn't have as much money as I do. Not to mention he's just a fake who relies on renting luxury goods to maintain his image. I directly posted a screenshot of the bill in the group chat. Care to help pay it off? Rich lady, don't worry. Once the debt is settled, I definitely won't cling to you. Luo Kaiwei sent a voice message directly, her voice sounding furious. What evidence do you have to prove that Shinqin owes you this? As for evidence, I actually do have it, after all. He was the one who asked me for it, and the chat records are still there. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to the group. The company chat group, which had been buzzing with activity just moments ago, fell silent in an instant. Even the usual bootlickers automatically shut up. After about 10 minutes, Shinqin proactively added me back and transferred me 30,000 yuan. Take the money and get lost. Don't you dare bother me again, you fucking idiot. Poor trash. You'll stay broke your whole life. Luo Kaiwei also sent me a message. Take that 200 yuan too. Consider it charity. Like tossing coins to a beggar. I received 30,000 and wanted to tell Shinqin that I might not actually be poor, but the message was rejected again when I sent it. I couldn't be bothered to argue either, so I refunded Luo Tsaiwei's 200 and replied, keep it for yourself. Renting luxury items must be quite expensive. Luo Kaiwei instantly reacted like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Who are you calling a renter? You broke loser. Watch out, I'll sue you for slander. They won't believe it until they see the coffin, but there's no rush to expose her just yet. After all, with one fake rich handsome guy and one fake beautiful rich girl, I'm quite curious about how this will play out. I deleted her from my contacts, then went back to the group chat and started spamming red packets. I sent out all 30,000 yuan I'd just received plus the 20,000 plus I'd earned from renting luxury items. Those bootlickers who were so eager to join Luo Kaiwei in cursing me earlier were now scrambling just as fast to grab the red packets. I curled my lips and noted down all the names. Since they're so fond of toadying to the powerful and fawning over the rich, I might as well tell finance to dock their pay for a few months. After splurging over 50 grand, I felt much more at ease. No wonder there are so many suckers who love tipping streamers. The feeling of showing off is really damn satisfying. Jiang Chen from the neighboring workstation quietly nudged me and whispered, My, there's no need to get angry with them. Luo Caiwei's uncle is, after all, the general manager. Be careful, or she might make things difficult for you. I shrugged indifferently and said, So what if he's the general manager? My dad is the chairman. I came clean. But she obviously didn't believe me, not that I blame her. After all, I take my mother's surname. My actions of sending screenshots and then wildly throwing money around ended up embarrassing Shen Qin. After I sent the red envelope, he posted several photos in the group showing me getting out of different luxury cars. My breakup with Tian Mai was truly unavoidable. What man could accept his girlfriend being kept by someone else? I've been in agony this whole time. And it was Wei Wei who helped me through it. Finally, he specifically tagged me, urging me to be a better person and not try to take shortcuts, putting on a sanctimonious act of concern. Is there any possibility that all these cars belong to my family? After editing the text, I added a smiling emoji at the end. This was back when I had just been transferred to the subsidiary company. My mom, worried that I wouldn't adjust well, sent the family driver to pick me up and drop me off for a few days, so he had seen it all. No wonder he pursued me so fiercely. You're quite the braggart, Tian Mai. If your family is so wealthy, why do you eat street food and buy cheap goods every day? Do you know why I gave you a fake bag? It was to see if you could tell the difference, and you accepted it with such delight. Now you're pretending to be some rich second-generation heir. Perhaps because I grew up surrounded by high-end luxury goods, I don't place much importance on material desires. At the time, I could tell at a glance that the bag was fake. But I thought the sentiment behind the gift mattered more than the gift itself. One who takes from others is at their mercy, one who eats from others is softened in speech. The sycophants in the group, who had just received my red envelopes, remained silent, not daring to speak up. Oh, then let's wait and see who's pretending. Edit the message and send it. The rumors about me being kept are spreading like wildfire. They've even vividly described the sugar daddy, a short, balding, overweight man in his 50s. I still wear clothes bought for a few dozen yuan from Taobao while squeezing onto the subway, and the rumors died down after a few days. I thought the matter was over, and arguing with them would only lower my dignity. However, Luo Kaiwei clearly had no intention of letting me off. The proposal I worked on all night for a week was submitted under her name. I took the original document to argue with our team leader, only to be told it was Rosen's instruction. Luo Kaiwei, picking at her freshly done manicure, sneered, What's the use of hard work? This society still runs on connections. Why don't you go beg your sugar daddy and see if he can help you, TSK, but judging by your shabby clothes every day, I'm afraid your sugar daddy isn't very capable either. After speaking, she raised her hand to cover her lips and giggled, Tian Mai, don't tell me you let him have you for free. I clenched the documents in my hand tightly, trembling with anger at her shameless theft. Suppressing my rage, I ran to the restroom and called Qin Zhao. This project proposal is a collaboration with the Qin Group, and the current head of the Qin Group, Qin Zhao, happens to be the blind date my dad arranged for me. It's just that we've never gotten along since childhood. On the other end of the phone, Qin Zhao's voice still sounded as punchable as ever. Oh, Miss Tian, getting bullied in your own family's company. How impressive, I snapped back. A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. He chuckled lightly, uncharacteristically serious for a moment. Go on, tell me how you want me to help you. No need for help, just make sure your company's person in charge checks carefully when signing. I deliberately entered a wrong decimal point in there. It's well hidden. If they're not careful, it could cost them tens of millions. Qin Zhao fell silent for a moment before slowly saying, Only you could pull something like this. That's ruthless, harm none, but trust not all. These are principles we must learn from childhood. None of those groomed as successors are naive fools. I never brought up the proposal again. My retreat only emboldened Luo Kaiwei further. She stood triumphantly in front of my workstation, her head held high, glaring at me through her nostrils. Looks like your sugar daddy isn't so capable after all. I stole your boyfriend, and now I've taken the work you've toiled over for so long. What's the use of being pretty when you still have to hand everything over to me? No wonder she's been targeting me since she joined the company. A woman's jealousy is truly terrifying. Propping my chin on my hand, I looked up at her. Haven't you heard? Anything that can be stolen is just trash. Luo Tsaiwei's carefully made up pretty face twisted slightly. She snorted coldly, muttered, stubborn to the end, then swayed her hips as she walked away. The ill-fitting Gucci dress clung tightly to her curves. Clearly, this outfit was rented again, during the afternoon meeting. Qin Zhao personally came to our company. Luo Kaiwei stood at the front giving a PowerPoint presentation, her eyes constantly darting toward him. I turned my head to glance at Shen Qin in the corner, and no matter how I looked at it, his head seemed to be glowing green. Qin Zhao cleared his throat lightly. We're in the middle of a meeting. Please try to focus. I secretly rolled my eyes at him. He pretended not to notice and shifted his gaze back to Luo Kaiwei, who was still standing in front of the projector. Only the slight upward curve of his lips betrayed his good mood. Miss Luo, did you write this proposal? He asked. Luo Kaiwei was utterly enchanted by his smile and nodded eagerly. No one else was involved. Right, you completed it entirely on your own. With a hesitant glance at me, Luo Kaiwei nodded again. Qin Zhao's handsome face darkened instantly. He slammed the folder in his hand onto the table with a cold voice. If we follow your plan, our company will face a loss of 50 million. Can you bear the consequences of this? Luo Tsaiwei's face flushed and paled alternately as she pointed at me in a fluster, saying, It's Tian Mai, it's her. Before she could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Luo Sen, who was seated below Qin Zhao. President Qin, please calm down first. She's new here, so there might be some oversights in her work. Luo Kaiwei still wanted to argue, but a sharp look from him silenced her. Clenching the hem of her clothes, she glared at me fiercely before reluctantly lowering her head. Due to a work error, Luo Kaiwei was penalized with 3 months' salary deduction. After the meeting, she grabbed me as I tried to leave and snapped viciously, Tian Mai, you did this on purpose, didn't you? Losing salary was minor. Losing face in front of Qin Zhao was the real blow. A few days ago, I created a burner account and had Meng Wan add me to several luxury group buying chats where Luo Kaiwei was active. I saw her express ambitions toward Qin Zhao more than once. Well, he is famously known as the diamond-encrusted single dog. It'd be strange if she didn't have some thoughts about him. I shook off her hand and brushed the spot she had touched a few times, making a show of acting like she was dirty. You're hilarious. How was I supposed to know you'd steal my proposal? Speaking of which, I paused, then flashed a huge grin. I told you, anything that can be stolen is just trash. Under her malicious gaze, I lifted my head and walked out of the meeting room with my chest held high. Just as I left the meeting room, I received a message from Qin Zhao, asking me to meet him in the underground parking garage. When I arrived, he was leaning against the black G-Class, smoking with his long legs crossed. Even though we didn't get along, I couldn't deny his good looks. He stubbed out the cigarette, popped a mint into his mouth, and casually tossed one to me as well. The round candy bulged out one side of his cheek, making him look unexpectedly adorable. He asked me, what's the plan next? That guy today didn't seem like a friendly type. I raised an eyebrow and said, as if I'm the friendly type either. Qin Zhao crunched the candy with a snap, then frowned in frustration and said, I'm a man too. Can't you try relying on me for once? I pinched the soft flesh of his cheek and mocked him. Yes, the man who fought with me in his teens and ended up crying because of me. I had my father's assistant investigate Rosen, and to my surprise, they uncovered quite a few things, not to mention mixing public with private affairs. It turns out he and Luo Kaiwei aren't even related by blood. I stroked my chin while flipping through photos of him and Luo Kaiwei entering the hotel, along with their room reservation records, having his mistress pose as his niece to join the company, and not even objecting to her dating. No matter how you look at it, the whole thing reeks of something fishy. I then paid someone to hack into Luo Tsaiwei's computer and retrieved her chat logs with both Luo Sen and Shen Qin. After reading the chat logs, my hands and feet turned ice cold. I underestimated human nature. Rosen's target was me from the very beginning. Luo Kaiwei promised him that on Shenqin's birthday, they would drug me, deliver me to his bed, and record it to control me. Shenqin was aware of this and participated in it. I clenched my fists tightly to suppress my anger. After thinking for a long time, I decided to turn their scheme against them. There's still about a month left. Plenty of time for me to make my arrangements. Shenqin's birthday celebration was hosted at our city's most upscale entertainment venue, Yushang International. At the end of the workday, Luo Kaiwei walked over arm in arm with Shenqin, swaying her hips with each step. This time she was dressed head to toe in Burberry. I frowned as I looked at her outfit, another one of the pieces I'd left at Meng Wan's place for rental. She held her head high as she pulled an invitation from her LV handbag and tossed it onto my desk. Our Chin is hosting a birthday party. Remember to dress up properly. She looked me up and down several times, her tone dripping with disdain. Don't embarrass us by dressing like a country bumpkin. If you really have nothing to wear, I can lend you a few outfits. I frowned, my gaze sweeping over her ill-fitting clothes and handbag. Your outfit. This is the latest Burberry collection. You poor thing. Don't even think about it. You probably couldn't afford it in this lifetime, hillbilly. Luo Kaiwei glared at me with her nostrils flaring, oozing arrogance and rudeness. Or you could have your stingy sugar daddy buy you a proper outfit, otherwise you'll embarrass yourself tonight. She covered her mouth and giggled. If your sugar daddy isn't up to the task, I can always recommend you a new one. I picked up the invitation, waved it at her, and smiled. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you. The only question is, who's the mantis and who's the sparrow? I retrieved everything from Meng Wan. Fortunately, not much had been rented out. At exactly 8 p.m., dressed in an LV runway outfit, carrying a Hermes bag, and wearing a Patek Philippe on my wrist, I arrived punctually at Yushang International. Just as I reached the private room's entrance, I heard Luo Kaiwei's mocking voice coming from inside. Did Tian Mai chicken out at the last minute? I thought she was so tough. Country bumpkins will always be country bumpkins, Shenqin chimed in. Or maybe she got stopped at the door. After all, not just anyone can get into such a high-end venue, Luo Kaiwei continued, and here I was, kind enough to show her around and broaden her horizons. Who knew she wouldn't even dare to show up, broaden her horizons? A fake wearing rented designer clothes and carrying rented designer bags wants to show the only daughter of a listed company the world. That's hilarious. Someone nearby let out a shrill laugh and chimed in, wasn't she being kept? Why is she still so shabby? Probably wasn't good in bed and got dumped long ago. Just a little plaything for the rich to have fun with. I took a deep breath, put on a proper smile, and reached out to push open the slightly ajar private room door. Sorry I'm late. The previously lively private room instantly fell silent. Luo Kaiwei was the first to snap out of it, half leaning against Shenqin. She sneered, "Oh, where did you rent this from?" I smoothed my hair and observed the expressions of the two. "Oh, I have a friend named Meng Wan who specializes in luxury rentals. If you need anything, you can come to me. I can get you a discount." Sure enough, as soon as the words were spoken, both of their faces turned slightly flustered. Shenqin stammered in retort, You think everyone's as poor and shabby as you are, having to rent clothes to wear. Who knows how many people have worn them before? Disgusting." I nodded in agreement. I should tell Meng Wan that I don't want the clothes and bag rented to Luo Kaiwei anymore. They really are quite dirty. Without paying any more attention to the two of them, I walked straight over to the waiter in the corner. "Go tell your manager to bring over 2 bottles of the wine I've stored here. Tonight, I had no intention of staying low-key." Luo Kaiwei scoffed. "Tian Mai, who do you think you're fooling? Stored wine, you?" Upon hearing her call my name, the waiter bowed respectfully, asked me to wait a moment, and quickly left the private room. A few minutes later, he brought over a chubby middle-aged man. "Miss Tian, you're here. The VIP rooms still have availability. I'll arrange for someone to switch you over." I waved my hand. "No need. It's someone else's birthday today. I'm just here to join the fun. Open a bottle of Romani Conti and bring it over for me. Is it the 1974 vintage? You still have 3 bottles stored here. The cheapest one will do." A female colleague from Department 1, who had been fawning over Luo Kaiwei with great enthusiasm, quickly interjected, "If you can't afford it, don't pretend to be rich. You haven't even heard of any of these wines, and now you want the cheapest. Stop embarrassing yourself here." Shenqin and Weiwei, the happy couple, don't need your petty contributions. Shenqin and Luo Kaiwei. who had been as quiet as mice since the manager entered, turned pale at her words, bound by pride. They didn't dare utter a word in response. Fear not a godlike opponent, but a pig-like teammate. Money saved. I covered my mouth and laughed. True, I forgot they're not short on cash. In that case, treating us to the cheapest bottle of Romani Conti shouldn't be a problem, right? Luo Kaiwei gritted her teeth and agreed, no problem. Let's go, we're ready to check out. I walked over to the colleague who had just spoken and patted her on the shoulder, genuinely grateful to her. Thank you, you just saved me 30,000 yuan. The muscles under my palm tensed up, and she gaped in disbelief. What kind of wine costs at least 30,000? I sighed at her ignorance. They don't even consider that this is, after all, the most high-end entertainment venue in the city. Even a small manager isn't someone just anyone can meet. Moreover, he respectfully offered to switch us to a VIP room. It must be said that Shen Qin and Luo Caiwei's faces, looking as if they'd eaten a dead rat, would probably make for a great appetizer. But thinking of the trio's plan, I didn't touch my chopsticks. Luo Kaiwei, having had her spotlight stolen by me, made snide remarks with a passive-aggressive tone. Looking at how shabby you usually dress, I never expected your sugar daddy to be so generous with you. I nodded. After all, I'm the only precious treasure my parents have. They're indeed generous. TSK, what a decline in public morals. How people's hearts have changed. Being a kept woman and still acting so righteous. Shameless. Shen Qin, standing nearby, quickly chimed in. I said it before, didn't I? Tian Mai is being kept. Do you believe me now? Just as the dishes were about to be served, Luo Caiwei's phone rang. Shen Qin and I exchanged a glance, thinking no one had noticed, as she cheerfully answered the call. Hello, uncle. Whatever was said on the other end caused a momentary flicker of panic across her face. That won't do at all. It should be us who go to pay our respects to Chairman Cheng and Mrs. Cheng. We couldn't possibly trouble them to come to us. Oh, all right then. We're in private room 608. After hanging up the phone, Luo Kaiwei pursed her lips, a mix of annoyance and secret delight swirling within her. These conflicting emotions intertwined, making her expression appear somewhat peculiar. My uncle is here entertaining Chairman Cheng and his group, and President Qin happens to be here too. He said he'd come join the fun. She clung to Shen Qin in an overly affectionate manner, continuing with a hint of boastfulness. Madam Cheng even held me when I was little. I wonder if she still remembers. I pursed my lips, thinking that I'd have to ask my mom to take a mugwort bath tonight to ward off the bad luck. I had mentioned the birthday banquet to Qin Zhao and specifically reminded him to bring my parents. Thankfully, although the guy has a sharp tongue, he's reliable when it comes to getting things done. As soon as a few female colleagues heard that Qin Zhao would be arriving soon, they hurriedly started touching up their makeup. Luo Kaiwei was, of course, among them. About 10 minutes later, the private room's door swung open. Luo Sen followed behind my father, bowing and scraping. She was about to step forward when I pushed her away. Tian Mai, you, she gnashed her teeth as she called my name, freezing in place when she saw me link arms with Madam Cheng. I raised an eyebrow at her and deliberately said, let me introduce you, my sugar daddy, Mr. Cheng, and Mrs. Tian. My mother gave me a disapproving glare. I stuck out my tongue playfully and hugged her arm, acting coquettishly. Come on, Mom, why glare at me? They're the ones who said I was being kept. They were just praising how generous my sugar daddy is. Everyone present first widened their eyes in disbelief, then quickly paled. Among them were several junior executives who had been trying to curry favor with Luo Kaiwei to get closer to her uncle, the general manager. Cheng Corporation offers excellent employee benefits, making even its subsidiaries difficult to get into. After hearing my words, both my parents' expressions darkened simultaneously. My mother glanced around, her voice icy. You're taking our family's salary while slandering my daughter. If you feel Cheng Corporation has mistreated you, you can settle your wages and leave tomorrow. Everyone present lowered their heads, not daring to breathe loudly. I deliberately glanced at Shen Qin and Luo Kaiwei. Shen Qin pressed his lips together, his eyes filled with regret. As for Luo Kaiwei, her face was written all over with jealousy. Their plan was doomed to fail, but I had no intention of letting them off. If I hadn't known what they were planning in advance, everything that happened tonight would have been enough to kill me. I don't intend to let my parents know about these things either. A birthday banquet ended hastily with everyone on edge because of my mother's rage. After returning home, my father was scolded harshly by my mother. And my financial restrictions were lifted. I conveniently managed to snag another Panamera suite. The next day, when I drove my brand new beloved car to the office, my identity as the chairman's daughter had already spread far and wide. A few of Luo Tsaiwei's bootlickers were busy running around serving tea and water, apologizing to me. I don't want to make things too difficult for them. After all, in the workplace, flattering the powerful and stepping on the weak, or buttering up superiors, are common phenomena, but that doesn't mean I'll just let the matter rest. Kindness doesn't command troops, and righteousness doesn't manage wealth. The education I received since childhood never taught me to repay grievances with virtue. I had financed Doc 2 months' wages from them, and that was the end of it. Either accept the punishment or settle the wages and leave. They weren't stupid either. Despite their grievances, they had to endure it considering the company's benefits. Jiang Chen leaned in again and whispered, My, is your dad really the chairman? This little girl was quite decent. While others were stepping on me to flatter Luo Kaiwei, she occasionally spoke up for me. I smiled and nodded. Yeah, I told you before. After turning on the computer, I didn't hesitate to anonymously send all the evidence of Luo Sen and Luo Tsaiwei's affair to Luo Sen's wife, doing good deeds without leaving a name. That's me, Tian Mai. Within an hour, Mrs. Luo stormed into the company with a group of relatives and friends. They grabbed Luo Kaiwei by the hair, kicking and hitting her. Someone nearby was recording the whole thing while narrating, Come see the mistress getting beaten. People these days are really wild, sleeping with their own uncle. Someone tried to step in to mediate, but was pushed away by the entourage. The document package I sent to Mrs. Luo was printed out by her and scattered everywhere. The truth came so abruptly that Shin, standing over 8 meters tall, swayed and fainted straight away. After waking up, he struggled to go after Meng Wan but was restrained by several colleagues who dragged and held him back. His eyes were bloodshot as he roared at Luo Kaiwei to return the money, his shouts gradually turning into choked sobs as tears began to fall. I stood in the corner sipping coffee, watching the drama unfold. Lawson's wife came from a well-off family and was no pushover. She had brought along reporters from several news outlets, clearly aiming to ruin both their reputations. The scandal of uncle-nephew incest and affair trended for 3 straight days. Luo Tsaiwei's personal information was thoroughly exposed by netizens, including photos of her working as a hostess at a certain venue in the past. As for her later act of pretending to be wealthy to lure men, she was completely exposed and criticized. After learning about my conflict with her, Meng Wan didn't hesitate to add fuel to the fire by releasing all the chat records of Luo Kaiwei renting luxury brands from her. The various revelations turned Luo Kaiwei into a public enemy overnight, with self-proclaimed justice warriors showing up daily to denounce her as a homewrecker. A few days later, the company sued Rosen in court for embezzlement. Shen Qin invested heavily to keep Luo Kaiwei, whom he considered a big fish, hooked. He spared no expense on designer bags and jewelry. After learning about their plan, I used a secondary account to build a good relationship with Luo Kaiwei in the group chat. I also had Meng Wan cooperate with me by asking why I hadn't rented clothes from her recently. I said I made quite a bit from playing the stock market, and I'd been pretty well off lately. I even kindly recommended a few hot stocks to them in the group chat. A few skeptically followed my advice and made a small profit. After a few rounds, they started chasing me for stock tips, but I refused to share any more. Luo Kaiwei privately messaged me on her own. She sweet-talked me, calling me sister to build rapport, and asked me to guide her in playing the market. Stocks, to put it bluntly, are just a form of gambling, pretending to be worn down by her persistence. I recommended a few more to her. After tasting some success, she gradually became completely convinced by my recommendations. The day before yesterday, I told her about a stock with an exceptionally strong trend, promising that with enough courage, overnight riches were entirely possible. I even showed her the 2 million I had invested and analyzed the market for her. Luo Kaiwei couldn't understand any of this, having made quite a bit of money by following my investment leads recently, and seeing me put in so much, she didn't suspect a thing. Unable to come up with that much cash herself, she borrowed 500,000 from Shen Qin, who went all out, even taking out a loan from loan sharks to lend to her. Such is the charm of a wealthy woman, I suppose. Oh, I forgot to mention, the loan sharks were also part of my arrangement. Otherwise, how could it have been such perfect timing? I sold that stock last night and made over 100,000 yuan. It started falling continuously this morning. Shen Qin's 500,000 is definitely not coming back. Luo Kaiwei couldn't stay at the company any longer and ran away. After leaving, she even cursed me on WeChat, saying I screwed her over. I'm innocent too. I did remind her to sell. If she had followed my advice, she wouldn't have lost anything and might even have made a small profit, but at that time, she was getting beaten up and couldn't focus. I directly sent her a screenshot of our chat history, with the time circled in red. What a coincidence. I was planning to quietly delete her as a friend after the stock hit the limit down, but who would have thought the drama of the wife beating up the mistress would unfold so timely, leaving Luo Kaiwei with no fault to find in me. After seeing the screenshot, she apologized to me, saying she had misunderstood. Then she asked if I had any recommendations for what to do next. I replied to her, forget it. I was trying to do you a favor, and you turned around to blame me. Don't ask me for help anymore. After sending the message, I deleted her from my contacts. After Luo Kaiwei ran away, Shen Qin's life became difficult. Debt collectors were constantly blocking him at the company's entrance. Finally, after who knows how many times of being coerced, he knelt before me, tears and snot streaming down his face. He begged me, pleaded for another chance, saying he had been blinded before. Mistaking a fisheye for a pearl, I looked down at him as if he were an ant. Did you ever think, when you were planning to send me to Rosen's bed, that one day you'd be kneeling before me begging? Shen Qin clearly hadn't expected me to know about this. The color drained from his face. After coming to his senses, he started kowtowing. I'm sorry, my, it was Luo Kaiwei, that bitch's idea. Don't take it out on me. I'll never dare to do it again. Does he even have a future? I sighed and said, Shen Qin, you know what? I was actually planning to take you home to meet my parents. I was just about to discuss this with you when you dumped me and got together with Luo Kaiwei. I was lying to him. From the very beginning, I never intended to take him home. I only said that to make him regret it even more. Looking back now, I don't think what I felt for him was love. Maybe I just thought he happened to fit my fantasy of a free-spirited romance. If it had been real love, how could I have felt only anger and no sadness on the day I was dumped? It seems I really haven't felt the slightest bit of sadness. McDonald's, I was wrong. Please give me another chance. He stopped his movements, kneeling and shuffling forward a few steps on his knees, his forehead already bruised from kowtowing, devoid of any dignity. I finally voiced my question. What exactly did Luo Kaiwei do to make you so willing? She took me to meet her parents. Her parents own a construction company and said that once we got married, they would hand over control, entrusting the company to me and Luo Kaiwei to manage, along with gifting us a luxury mansion worth tens of millions. I had no idea even her parents could be fake. Maisie, I was really wrong. With such a grand promise laid out, investing $500,000 does seem quite reasonable. What's the use of knowing you're wrong? I can't possibly give him another chance after all. He doesn't deserve it. I tilted my head, pretending to think it over, and offered him some advice. Maybe you should tell your family. After all, they're not short of money, and knowing your current situation, they couldn't possibly be heartless enough to abandon you. Shen Qin's face drained of color, his lips trembling as he remained silent. I continued, if you're afraid to speak, I can make the call for you. Just give me the number. No need. I've already cut ties with my family and won't take their money anymore. Still putting on an act even at this point, utterly incorrigible. However, he didn't expect that the debt collection company wouldn't take it lying down. When they couldn't get the money from him, they naturally contacted his parents. A few days later, a plainly dressed couple in their 50s showed up at our company, asking specifically for Shen Qin. Perhaps they had come in a hurry, as they still carried traces of field soil on their clothes. When the receptionist called Shen Qin out, the woman, already half gray-haired and hunched, rushed forward, crying and hitting him. You silly child. What kind of trouble have you gotten into outside? They've already called our home. The commotion grew quite loud, attracting many onlookers. Shen Qin pushed her away with a dark expression, instructing the security to drive them out. He said he didn't know these two people. Hearing this, the old woman cried even harder. Good heavens, even your own parents wouldn't recognize you now. What a waste raising you all these years. Following Luo Kaiwei's scandal, another bombshell drops. Shen Qin's rich second-generation persona has also crumbled. Jiang Chen, who was standing beside me watching the commotion, sighed and lamented. Can we still trust anything in this world? The rich pretend to be poor, and the poor pretend to be rich. I patted her shoulder and said, perhaps this is teaching us not to judge people by appearances. Shenqin's parents sold all their house and farmland back in their hometown, and even borrowed some money from relatives to help him pay off his debts, even if Shenqin refused to acknowledge them. But after all, he was their own flesh and blood. There may be heartless children, but how many heartless parents are there? Things have come to this point because he tried to harm me first. It's not my fault for fighting back, but I truly can't bear to see two elderly people, older than my own parents, living such a miserable life in their twilight years. Their only mistake might have been failing to raise their son properly. I redeemed the house and reclaimed part of the farmland, allowing them to continue using it. Of course, they only have the right to reside and use it. I will take it back after the two elderly pass away. Shenqin was fired by the company. Before leaving, he came to see me one more time to apologize for his past actions. I told him that from the moment he tried to ruin my reputation, I could no longer bring myself to forgive him. Perhaps knowing he was in the wrong, he didn't press the matter further. He just left with his head down, looking like a stray dog. Hopefully, this experience will teach him a lesson, so he won't be so vain anymore. As for Luo Kaiwei, you can run, but you can't hide. To get rich quick, she also borrowed 500,000 inches high-interest loans, and together with various other debts and Shenqin's 500,000, she managed to scrape together about 1.2 million. When the loan sharks couldn't find her, they started bombarding her contact list. Some debt collectors even camped outside her parents' house, demanding repayment. They didn't smash things or hurt anyone, they just stuck around, following them everywhere. Even calling the police was useless, as it was considered a civil dispute. The gossip from neighbors, the avoidance of relatives and friends, even normal work and daily life became impossible. In the end, there was no choice but to sell the property to help her repay the debts. First, their daughter committed such disgraceful acts and was cyberbullied. Then they were harassed by loan sharks and forced to sell all their property. Luo Caiwei's mother couldn't handle the shock, and in a fit of rage, she suffered a stroke and became paralyzed. Even without borrowing from loan sharks, Luo Caiwei's daily expenses were substantial, and she had also racked up a pile of credit card debts. After multiple failed attempts to collect the debts, several banks filed lawsuits against her in court to help her cover the hole left by the loan shark. Her parents had already sold everything they could and were no longer able to help her repay the massive credit card debt. In the end, Luo Kaiwei was sentenced to 5 years in prison for fraud and fined 50,000 yuan. Extra story. After everything was settled, I was transferred to the headquarters to learn management under my father. Qin Zhao kept coming to our company every now and then. Tian Mai, how about considering dating me, your lord and master? I'm the dream of countless girls. You better act fast. He sat on my desk, endlessly blabbering about how great he was. I rolled my eyes and stood up to push him out of the office. We'll talk about it later. Right now, I just want to focus on working hard. After saying that, she slammed the door shut right in front of him. What's the point of dating? Isn't making money way better? After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.